What's up, everybody? It's your boy Corey Ryan Forster. Before we get started on the podcast here, you know to go to TreyCrowder.com to see Trey coming to a city near you. We will also all three be together this December 15th through the 17th at Zanies in Nashville doing our homecoming shows. So come see us. You can get those tickets at TreyCrowder.com as well. They will sell out. That's our best show of the year, so we hope to see you there. Also, remember, you can go to parttimefunnyman.com and get bonus stuff from me. And, yeah, there you go. So, after this ad from congressional candidate Jerry Mander, we will begin the Well-Read Podcast. Love you, see you, bye. Skew!
Hi, I'm Jerry Mander, and I'm running for Congress in the great state of Georgia. When I'm elected, parents will be able to choose what their kids learn. The white ones that have money and vote like me. The only thing critical about race theory is that we get rid of it. Our children deserve to know the truth about how this country was founded. Our ancestors, who were, and it pains me to say it, from Europe, came here on a 3-hour cruise. There, they discovered some Mexicans eating corn. One thing led to another, and we were invited to dinner. The liberals try to spin colonialism as a barbaric takeover of an innocent indigenous people. And to that I say, that ain't how the Mel Gibson movie went. Yep, call me old-fashioned, but back in my day, woke was something you did before you went to work. Of course, the liberals wouldn't know anything about work unless it was getting fisted on OnlyFans. Yep, I'd rather have a stroke than go woke. At least I'd still be able to use the right side of my body to point out illegal immigrants. There's one right there! Democrats think your money needs to go to taxes for social programs that will make a better world. Well, not on my watch. If billionaires have to pay taxes, then how can they afford to buy and ruin a perfectly good social media platform? Or hire an attorney to represent them when their robot car runs over a toddler? Yep, typical liberals not understanding trickle-down economics. You see, the more money a billionaire has, the more that will trickle down to their children. Children who lobby for pill companies who are responsible for multiple deaths in our communities. So this November, you need to remember to cast your vote for Jerry Mander. Jerry Mander, a chicken in every pot and a gun in every baby's hand.
Okay, first off, welcome to the Well-Read Podcast. It's your boy Corey Ryan Forster. I'm here with Trey. Drew's in Mexico, probably butt naked, maybe smuggling drugs. We don't know. We have no idea. We haven't known where he was for several weeks. Please stop emailing us. Secondly, I'll go ahead and get it out of the way because I know that everybody's going to want us to do this, but I'm not going to go any further than you want me to, but I do have to say up top, go dog sick 'em, hoo, hoo, hoo. Silver Britches boys gonna do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I knew we'd have to talk about this, which is
but that's all I'm gonna say. You don't have to go any further because I'm not one of those assholes that piles on.
I expected us to lose this whole time. I always expect us to lose, but especially against Georgia in Athens, especially when I saw so many people picking us and betting on us and all this stuff. And we got the #1 ranking in the first CFP poll. As soon as it's all that shit, I was like, God fucking damn it. Like I know how this is going to go. But like, I mean, I said it on here after the Alabama game. I was like, the thing is, I think there's an argument to be made that depending on how everything else shakes out, it's really not that big of a deal or not the end of the world if we lose that game in Athens. And like the other games. So basically Clemson got the shit beat out of them by Notre Dame. That's huge for us.
Yeah.
And also Alabama took their second loss in overtime to LSU. That's huge for us. So like y'all
that's huge for us too, in terms of we'll probably play in LSU, not Alabama. And even if you're looking at it like, well, LSU's the better team, so why would you rather play them? It's because of the mental block with Alabama, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we need y'all to just win out. And then we need TCU to drop a game somewhere. And they play Texas, and then they play their biggest rival, Baylor, the next 2 weeks. So that could easily happen. They could lose both of them. We just need a couple more things to break right, and I think Tennessee, could still make the playoffs anyway. Some people are saying, and I get if Oregon wins the Pac-12 and they've still only got one loss to Georgia, they've won the Pac-12, they'll put them in over Tennessee. Or if or Michigan loses to Ohio State, but that's the only game they lose. Of course, I'm extremely biased, but I would view both of those situations as being horse shit.
Yeah, I would know.
Because with Oregon specifically, we'd have a common loss. We'd have a loss in common, and we were much closer to y'all than they were.
For sure. Right. We kicked the shit out of them.
As far as Michigan, dude, Michigan ain't fucking played nobody. It ain't
literally
their fault
cupcake
that
schedule.
The Big Ten sucks as much as it does right now.
But it does.
But it does. Them and Ohio State both, their best opponent is Penn State, who ain't shit. And then the whole rest of the conference fucking sucks right now. So they just sleepwalk through the whole season and then play each other. And the winner of that is the champion. That part's fine. Whoever wins that game, of course, they're going to the playoff, and I have no problem with that. But to me, the idea that the loser of that game would still deserve to get in, I just don't see it at all, because that's the only game worth of shit either one of them has played the whole goddamn year. Whereas Tennessee went to Baton Rouge and beat the brakes off LSU. Tennessee beat Alabama at home. It's just not – I'm extremely biased. It may not happen this way. But I think if you've got one loss conference champions, Tennessee is going to have a stronger resume than most of them and will be deserving of a fourth playoff spot or something still, despite Saturday. But we'll see how it all goes down.
Let me start off by saying I have zero idea how ranked choice voting works. Okay?
Yeah,
but at all, if you put a gun to my head and said, make 3 guesses, I bet you all 3 of them would be dumber and more wrong than the last one. However, I'm going to pretend that it is that candidates are assigned a certain ranking points and each vote for them doesn't count the same as a vote for somebody. Point is, an SEC team, a one-loss SEC team, should have more cachet than any of those other fucking teams. Right now, as you said, the Big Ten is shit, and it is not fair to people in the SEC that you in the SEC, well, if you don't go undefeated, you don't have a chance. We're all fucking playing each other. It's not fair. It's not even a little bit fair, because if I'm biased as a Georgia fan too, but if Tennessee wins out, and their only loss is to us who came to fucking play, they should go over fucking Ohio State. Fuck them. And fuck Clemson. I know they lost, but the SEC, this is not just us being homers. It is true. Look at the top 10 right now. It is flooded with us, and the top 25 is flooded with people who are only one loss away from being in there. So it's not fucking fair, and an SEC team should be allowed one extra loss versus any other conference. Ranked choice voting.
I agree. Yeah, ranked choice vote. Well, we ain't got to get into all that. Oh, I guess we should alert people. We will be talking about the midterms later in this episode. I don't know how that conversation is going to go. We're recording this on Monday. Y'all are going to see this or hear this on Wednesday. So we're recording it before anything happens, and y'all are going to be listening to it after things have happened. So that's an interesting dynamic. But yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Let's do a little sports radio and do some predictions, over-unders. You know what I mean?
Okay. You want to do that now, or you want to wait?
No, let's wait. I got to think about it.
Yeah.
Get on DraftKings.
But yeah, I knew we was going to talk about the game at least a little bit, but that's pretty much where I'm at.
Me too.
I was upset and disappointed, of course, but not even a little bit surprised. But by the end of the night, the way the other games shook out, I was already pretty much completely over it. And I was like, okay, well, I see a path for us still here. So, I mean, it still may not happen, but I think there's a fairly good chance that it do. There's also a fairly good chance we'll get beat by fucking Missouri or South Carolina.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if they play y'all like they played us, buddy, I don't know what to tell you. But No, I mean, I'm the same type of fan as you. Like, I feel like every Alabama fan always thinks they're going to win every game, and at least me and you, Georgia and Tennessee fans, we assume we're going to lose every game, and then we're pleasantly surprised when it doesn't happen. So, like, I'm always that way. I'm like, listen, I know we won the national championship, but so many times we didn't. So many times I was disappointed. I'm like, Tennessee is for real this year. So I was not only surprised that we won, but aside from that, even if I thought we were going to win, I'm still surprised at how much we shut down your boy and, and the offense. Like, I didn't see that coming because I'm looking at it going like, guys, we might be a better team than them, but they still put up 50 on Alabama. I don't give a shit. I don't give a damn what you're talking about, like what Alabama team it is. If it's one in my lifetime, that's a shit ton of points. And I was surprised, especially because of how I talked about Georgia played against Missouri, and Georgia has played against some teams that, don't have the dick swing that Tennessee does. And I was like, man, we're going to have to show up to play. But we did. So now I'm just looking like, I mean, it's Georgia's to lose at this point. So, yeah.
You give Amber the dick slang? Like
actually slang it to her?
Just like
the helicopter.
Well, it's less of a there was it's just back and forth. Like not circular. There was a viral video like fucking 12 years ago or something of these like probably 20-year-old black kids or something, and it seemed like they were trying to.
Bet it was in widescreen.
It seemed like they were trying to do like treating it like a Dougie or Soulja Boy or like a dance move situation.
Yeah.
And they were calling it the dick slang. And they'd just be like, there'd be like a beat going, and when the beat would drop, they'd just scream dick slang. And they'd start like, they had like ball shorts on.
Were they naked?
No.
Oh, okay,
no.
Ball shorts, yeah.
They had ball shorts on, but no underwear, I don't think. So, you could see like, some meat moving.
The dick slang.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And they go dick slang and just shake their hips back and forth real hard. And me and Katie were, together already. We weren't married back then, but I just started doing that to her.
Oh, no, I lost you.
Did for a long time. No, I'm still here.
Okay, cool. I lost you. I just didn't hear anything after one thing, but it'll look fine on the other end. But no, I've done the dick slang to Amber, but I didn't know that it was like an actual hip thing that young black gentlemen have invented.
Hip. I don't think, again, dude, we're talking like 2009 or 2010 or
that's
something.
Hip to me.
Yeah, right. But yeah. But when, I'm talking about when you do it to your wife or whatever, dick is out. Like open the towel or whatever, you know what I mean? Or the robe.
Yeah.
And just shake it. It's funny.
Of course.
I haven't done it in a long time though.
Well, I'm going to do it tonight for sure. Mm-hmm. How speaking of dicks, just real quick because you just reminded me of this. I heard one of the I heard a would you rather earlier today that was the quickest I've ever known which one I'd rather do, and I wanted to posit it to you to see if you would come to the same conclusion, if that's okay. Mm-hmm. Would you rather sit on a dick and eat a cake, or sit on a cake and eat a dick? Because you tell me your answer, and then I'll tell you why there's only one definitive answer.
I think I'd rather sit on a dick and eat a cake.
You would. And you want to know why?
I have to choose between
that's what I'm
two,
saying. You have to choose between the two. And
I don't have to like move or work it or nothing.
No, you're just sitting on it.
You just sit on a dick.
And eat a cake.
It take me a second to get used to it, but then I think, but after I get used to it, now I'm just eating the cake, which hits.
That's what I'm saying. In this one, everybody
it's like having a butt plug in.
Yeah,
eating a cake. Which
whatever.
Again, I wouldn't. That's not my preferred methodology for cake eating, but like I could get over it and just enjoy the cake.
Well, as I've said often about having shit shoved in your butt. There's a lot of people who really like it, and they're not doing favors. You know what I mean? Like, so it stands to reason that it hits. It could hit, like, you don't know. But everybody was like, I don't know, this is a really tough one. I was like, how is it a tough one? There's only one scenario in which you're doing something that hits.
Eating cake.
Eating cake. The other one, if you're sitting on a cake, that don't hit. Eating a dick, that don't hit. So like, you gotta spread out your hit differentials here, and like Yeah. So like, it sucks that you're going to have something on your butt, up your butt. But if you're one of those like super macho dudes that like your buddies call you gay for stuff, they're going to call you gay no matter which one of them you do. You may as well have a cake is all I'm saying.
That was pretty much my exact rationale for it too. Cause I was just like, I mean, at least then I'd get cake. Like,
cake, yeah.
Just sitting on cake ain't doing nothing. And also I have to, you know, eat a dick.
Eat a dick. That don't hit.
And none of that. Yeah, right. I mean, I completely agree with
that. And also back to my original reasoning, you don't know, you might in the process find out that something hits for you. It could be a learning experience. Because like I said, these people out there, they're not doing jobs. They love it. It feels great. So that's all I just wanted to.
There is some people who is also doing jobs, you know.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm just saying, like,
but some of them, it's a, you know, if you love your job, you never work a day in your life situation. You know what I
mean? Yeah, I'm just saying there are people who really, really like it. You know?
Oh yeah, so much.
Love it.
It's wild. So, this is going to get ignorant,
disgusting,
maybe. Well, ignorant, and maybe we've talked about this before. I can't remember. I think maybe we did when we were at GNI, or no, I don't know. It was a different type of thing, but like,
sounds like the place.
It's wild, you know. Obviously, we're supreme allies. Everybody knows that, but like,
that means allies with lettuce and tomato. For the record.
Supreme. Yeah, got sour cream on us.
Yeah.
Actually, before I get into this, it's a little bit early, but why don't we take a quick break?
Let's take a break.
Because I'm about to start a thing.
My adversaries crumble when we rumble. It's a catastrophe on anybody who trying to hate come and blasting me. I've been in this for a minute.
So what I was going to say is, like, gay people are already, you know, very much a minority, right? And
sure.
then if
you're black.
If I understand it correctly, right?
Oh, I see what you're going.
Within that already, you know, relatively small minority from the general population, they have like very distinct roles that they feel that they like separate themselves into. You know what I mean? And yeah, right. But I think it gets even more specific
and like there's power
than that. Power bottoms,
power bottoms.
And it's like, so not only
like
do you have to find another gay person, but like you got to find the fucking outlet to your socket or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No,
it's like
true.
It seems like it would be like that would, you know, that ain't a simple thing.
No, it's not. No, like is there like a special wink? You know, like
well, we talked we talked on a recent episode of Putting on Airs. Everybody check out our other podcast, Putting on Airs. We found out on there about they had like colored bracelets and stuff.
Yeah.
That showed like what they were into and shit. So they do have like codes and rules and stuff, but it's just wild to me that they have that there's so many different like subgenres.
No, it's crazy
of gayness. I don't know how else to say it.
I do. It's hard enough finding a woman that likes to be choked, but like in that world, like no, for real, like online dating is the greatest thing that ever like online sites and stuff are the greatest thing that ever happened specifically for gay people. Like it's awesome for everybody across the board because you can meet more people. But with gay people, like you can have these like specific distinction. Like if you're like, I'm a top, I'm looking for a bottom, you can go to like americasnexttopbottom.com or whatever. And like people that are only bottoms, they're like, I'm a bottom looking for a top. I'm a twink looking for the stink. I'm a power bottom. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure that they have those. Like all we know about is Grindr, but you're right. It's tough out there.
But you know, at the same time, dude, people seem to find each other because you know another thing I've always thought
moth to a flame
because like, dude, there will be a motherfucker out there whose sexual thing is like, you know, murdering a prostitute and then peeling her skin off or something, right? And like. He'll find somebody that'll do that with him. He will. Like, that shit happens all the time, dude. And every time that happens, I'm always like, how did it ever come up? You know what I mean? Dude. It's like, did they do the
peeing on each other, for instance?
Did they do the Nelly, like, I'm just kidding, like Jason, unless you're going to do it.
Unless you're going to do it.
Unless you're going to do it. But with skinning a prostitute, do you know what I mean?
Dude,
like, that's a wild shot to shoot.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
Like, it's over after that.
Of them, we only hear about the ones that work out. Those dudes that have their like little sidekick devil women,
they've gone through a lot.
They probably had 4 or 5 where they were like, listen, I'm just going to throw something out there. You don't like it, you can throw it right back. Yeah, and they pitched skinning prostitutes, and the girl went, oh no, I'm not into that. And so he just skint her and threw her in a ditch, and then found another one until he found one that agreed to be his skinning prostitute's life partner. So it's like I was about to say,
Alan Moore didn't write a lot about all the women that the Joker had to murder before he found Harley Quinn, but like, that there certainly was a lot of them. Yeah. But yeah, man, like, and did we talk about peeing on putting on airs?
It came up just as one of the colors, like yellow. Yellow was peeing, but we didn't really elaborate on it.
Because that's one, like, peeing and pooing, like the balls it takes to be with someone and be comfortable enough with him to be like, hey, baby, listen, like you said, I'm going to throw this out there. Feel free to throw it right back. But if you could shit on my head, that would really hit for me. I'd love that. And then the fucking miracle of love to have that person go, I've been waiting for you to ask me to shit on your head since we first got together. And it exists. Like, or it either exists or there's a lot of really just down fucking people out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, bro, because that is, that ain't wild. Yeah, but dude, imagine the nerves of that when it's like, so like, all right, so I'll lay down, I'll take like saran wrap, right? And I put it over my open mouth, okay? And she's like, okay. And then what? And then, so stick with me here, all right? Then you squat over my open mouth and you poop right into the plastic poop pit I've turned my mouth into. And then, and like to not lose anybody along the way for that is wild.
Dude,
yeah, but absolutely, people find each other. It's beautiful.
And meanwhile, I didn't get married until my late 20s. You know what I mean? Like, it took me forever, and I've got very basic needs.
I'm a basic bitch. Like, I think in the bedroom for sure. It's pretty vanilla over here at the Crowder household.
I don't even mean just in the bedroom. I just mean, now, granted, I'm probably a lot to take in terms of like having to have a conversation with me, live with me, all those things. But like, I don't really require a lot out of you if you're going to be my lady. You know what I mean? Like, no. I don't need you to whip me. I don't need any of that. Just get over here, hush for a minute.
Right. I was about to say, honestly, it's kind of the opposite. It's like, the only thing I really require from you is your frequent absence from my, like, I don't need you to do anything. I need you to stop doing everything. Every now and then for a little while. Just, that's all I need. And no sandwiches, no nothing. Just, leave me be for a while.
Patrice O'Neal had one of the greatest bits, and you might know it. I think you do. Where he talked about, he said, a man wants to be left alone, but he doesn't want to be by himself.
Exactly.
Like we want you here, but we want you the fuck over there.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean, like, and I relate to that so much.
Oh, me too, 100%.
Like I genuinely, and this is not me trying to be like, oh, look at their relationship. I genuinely get depressed when like the house is empty and Amber's not here. But that doesn't mean that when she's here, me and her are hanging out.
Right. No, that don't hit.
No, that don't hit. But I like for her to be in the other room so that every now and doing something.
Folding
so that every now and then, oh, hell yeah, buddy. My money. So I like for her to be in the other room so that and I'm talking once every 2 hours, I can walk through and just go, hey, babe. Get something to eat, go back, and then we don't talk for the rest of the day. But but like, I need those fucking 5 minutes. I need her to be here. When she's not here, again, I want to be alone. I won't be left by myself, but I don't want to be alone. I've never related to a bit harder than that, because she does think she's going out of town this weekend, And she's always like, I'm like, oh, damn. And she's like, well, it hits for you when I'm not around. I'm like, no, it don't. It hits for me when you shut the fuck up on the couch is what hits for me. She can hear me right now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You had something that you wanted to talk about before we got into politics, didn't you?
Yeah. So it's a subject that I think is, you know, we both have thoughts on for sure, but I don't think we've ever talked about it on the podcast. We've talked about nerdy shit before, comic book movies and that type of stuff. I know we're both into it, but I don't think we've talked about like the phenomenon of nerd rage, basically. So like, I'll tell you the reason I thought about this. I recently watched the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon, and here's my review of it. When I first started it, first couple of episodes, because it's like the most expensive TV show ever.
It's
made.
The most expensive show ever, yeah.
And so when I first watched it, the first couple episodes, I was like, "Well, this is fucking incredible. They nailed this." Like there was all this controversy before the show even came out because they had made one of the elves black and they had made one of the dwarves black, and all the fucking nerds were like, according to the lore, they are fair-skinned beings, and this is not, you know, whatever. Like, this is blasphemous what they're doing, and I just have never cared less about anything. And in fact, like the black elf, I thought was the elfiest motherfucking elf on that whole goddamn show. He was super elfy, which is all that matters to me. But by the end of the first season, it was like,
you were like, enough with the blacks already.
No, it was just fine, basically. Like
the show?
Yeah, I was really impressed with it initially, but like by the end of the first season, I just thought it was fine. When season 2, if and when season 2 comes out, I will keep watching it and hope that it like ratchets back up the hits, but I'm not going to go to bat for that show or nothing. But while I was watching it, reading like discussion about it online from fans and stuff, I just started thinking about, and you see this with Star Wars, you see this with all kinds of other shit, where it's like, I swear to God, people who profess to be major fans of a thing
or not, they don't even like it,
will go into the thing looking for every possible excuse to hate it. It's like they start from a default position of fuck this shit, and then they just watch it and they're like, this is fucking garbage.
Yep.
It's like they just don't even give it a chance to actually hit at all. And I don't get why nerds be that type of nerd. And I know they're like, well, it's disrespectful to the lore and the canon of the original whatever, and to the memory of Tolkien and his intentions or whatever else. And it's like, you don't fucking know none of that. But also it's like, just, I don't know. It's just people get way too up in arms about nerd shit. And then it's like, once they make their decision immediately, they can't really be brought off of it no matter what. And I just think it's wild. Why you think them people be that way?
Well, yeah, they make their decision and then they can't waver, because even though they are a nerd, they are still by definition, I guess, a man. So they're stubborn, you know. And it's insane to me, because I was just on a Star Wars podcast actually called Across the Galaxy. It's a fantastic Star Wars podcast. You should check it out. Subscribe, at least listen to my episode. And one of the reasons that they had me on is because they were doing a segment called Normies versus Nerds, which is like your normal casual Star Wars fan.
You're
which
a
they
normie?
consider they consider me that for sure. And I'll get into it. I had to explain to them that much like everything, there's a spectrum.
Yeah,
and it's
for
also,
sure. Because like I would think, what is Katie? Like, if you're a normie, what is Katie? Because Katie don't know shit about any of it, bro.
Exactly.
Real quick, we were watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they were talking about Anakin and stuff, and Katie was talking to the boys or something like that, and she was like, well, maybe one day they'll do like an origin story for Darth Vader, like, like talking to Benton. She's like, like one day maybe they'll do that, Benton. They'll do an origin story for Darth Vader and show him when he was younger and all this stuff, whatever. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Because like she sat on the couch while me and the boys watched the whole saga.
She did what everybody wanted to do, which is forget the Phantom Menace.
And she just didn't. She had it's why she was present for all of it.
Yeah.
Retained none of it. and still barely knows who anybody is. But anyway, like I'm saying, if you're a normie, what the fuck is she? Just
well,
like
I don't think
she
that
don't
I
count?
am now. I don't think that I am. And like I told them, I was like, it's the eye of the beholder. And I used the example of like, I said, listen, when I go out to California, I'm the biggest rootinest, tootinest redneck you've ever seen in your life. When I'm at home, I'm a biggest liberal queer.
Yeah, right.
I said, so me being on this podcast right now, compared to y'all, yes, I guess I'm a normie. But like, then we kept talking and they were asking all these stuff. And I was like, well, in Thrawn, and I was like, look, you can't. Normies are people who've seen the original trilogy and watch it in passing. I'm not saying that I'm a super nerd, but like normies don't know about Thrawn, and I'm also not trying to. They love to gatekeep. Realistically, is what all these fucking nerds. Their whole thing. They're like. I think
you're sort of sounding like these people didn't hit for you. Who's
No, they do. No. I meant, no. I wasn't saying they're gatekeeping.
You're getting
I meant
pretty animated. You're like, no. Fucking problem with these motherfuckers. I tried to tell them. I said, you don't fucking come at me like that.
I said all this on the show, by the way. I said all this. No, what I meant was I'm going back to your nerd rage now. Is that like I think those nerds, and this could be a deep seated thing. I think that nerds for so long, they were in the shadows of society and they were cast outs and they were people that they all had this one thing they liked and society shunned them for being nerds. And now it's popular to be a nerd. And so they're like, no, we don't like it now that everybody's in our little club. So we have to make the password more fucking complicated. You know what I mean? Like no. Oh, you like this thing? Really? Well, what was that character's mom's name that they only mentioned in the appendix of the third book, you dumb fuck? You know? So again, I'm not talking about these, but I was explaining to them, I was like, I am every single one of my friends would consider me a Star Wars nerd without question. It's not even close. And again, I would never look at them and be like, well, no, I'm a Star Wars fan. You're not a Star Wars fan. That's stupid. But to go back to what you were saying, I do feel like that is the one difference and why maybe they think I'm a normie or why me and you would be normies is because I feel like what being a super fan means is, to your point, means that you come from a position of hating something. Like, I'm actually a fan of all these things. I love them. And so, because like I was talking about Solo and one of them was like, oh, of course you like Solo. And I'm like, I fucking like all of it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the shit.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's like, I kind of feel the same way about it in a way as I do about like religion and shit. Meaning like, I just don't really. It ain't that big of a thing to me in either direct. Like meaning like a lot of atheists and shit are like militant
hardcore
as fuck, you know, whatever.
Stupid.
And I'm like I don't care. You know, like my Meemaw goes to church services or whatever, and I'm completely fine with that. Like I couldn't give a shit less about any of that, really. It's just not that big of a thing for me. And with a lot of these things, it's like, yeah, no, they hit. Something comes out. I'll watch it. I hope it hits for me. It's just like, I don't know. I just don't like the level of vitriol
crazy
that they bring to it. They act like it's just like, you know, insulted.
They set the expectations
generations
insane.
of their family, you know, with these creative decisions and stuff. And it's like, no, it's a fucking pew shooty space laser adventure movie.
Fun.
Like for kids, really, at the end of the day, just fucking roll with it. But like that, don't interpret that as me being like all these movies and shows hit and none of it like plenty of them I'm like, well, that was fucking dumb as fuck. But like
we're just not haters
to me. Yeah, right. No, I'm not a hater.
We're just not.
The overlap between nerds and haterdom is pretty extensive.
Heavy.
That Venn diagram's nearly a circle.
Yep, at 100%. And I mean, me and you have talked a million times about doing some sort of like show review or podcast or whatever, and we all ultimately end up going back to like, yeah, but I don't want to criticize anything because like, you know, and when I say we're in the business, I'm putting that in air quotes for all of you listening. We are ostensibly in the business.
We're business adjacent.
We're business adjacent. We're in the business don't know it, but we're in the business.
business could take or leave, and mostly has left us. But
but it's what we aspire to do, and so because of that, like, I give everything a chance because I'm like, dude, I know how fucking hard it was to write a goddamn network multicam pilot. There's no telling what went into this fucking space drama that encompasses 7 galaxies. So, like, I'm going to give it a shot. And if something don't hit for me, I go, well, I'm not going to watch that shit again. But that's about the extent of it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. If you get into doing it at all at any level, like, again, we've only ever, we've sold things and written things and developed things and whatever else, but never got to fully, like, make something except for the Comedy Central sketches. But either way, like, if you actually are involved in any of that process at all, to any degree, you come to realize, or you should come to realize pretty quickly, that, like, there's so many different people involved. Everyone involved, like, people are never like, hey, let's make something that don't hit.
Exactly.
Like, let's just shit in the mouths of all these stupid nerds out there by purposefully choosing to make something that they're going to hate and ain't going to hit for anybody. Wouldn't that be hilarious? We just burn all this money and film it. Like, no one ever does that. Like, there's so many people that make their living making these things, and, like, they're trying to hit, but there's so many cooks in the kitchen and stuff, and things can just get, changed and altered and switched around and by so many different stakeholders and so many different paths along the way. And it's like people have said before about, like, getting something on the air. It's like, really, if you know how the process works behind the scenes with development and stuff, it's a miracle that anything gets made. Which I believe that to be true. And I think a similar thing is true. It's like, it's a miracle that anything ever fucking smashes. Like, like, the stars just have to align in so many different ways for something to actually hit real hard. It's wild that anything ever hits real hard.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think people
I don't have the type of, I just have a different perspective on the whole thing, especially ever since I got even tangentially involved in the show business world.
Yeah, I heard somebody the other day in my friend group say something like, it's just there just hasn't really been, like, like a new, like, Game of Thrones type show in a while. And I was like, it's insane that Game of Thrones was even the Game of Thrones type show that it was. Like, do you understand how hard it is to have something that is a box office and critical success that is that culturally phenomenal? Like, it's fucking bananas. I mean, how many times have we seen a movie that has a star-studded cast directed by someone who has the wonderful resume, and it stinks on ice? You know what I mean? You think, like, oh, there's no way that could happen if they just get a good writer and they get good actors. Dude, even when you put 1, 1, and 1 together, it don't always equal 3. So, like, you're right, Trey. We are lucky with what we get from Hollywood, and we should just accept it.
Yeah, what was that? I'm trying to find it real quick. I think this is it. Let me see if this is it. Yeah, right. Perfect example of what you're talking about. And I don't even know if I ever watched the whole thing, but there was a movie in 2013 called The Counselor. Do you remember that movie at all?
Don Cheadle?
It had no. I mean, you can't be blamed for not remembering it. It didn't make much of an impact. And matter of fact, most everybody agreed that it sucked. It's got 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a box office bomb. Everybody's like, this shit is garbage. Listen to the pedigree that this movie had. The script was written by Cormac McCarthy.
Holy shit. Like, he wrote the script. It wasn't adapted from his book?
No, he wrote the actual script, and might have also been adapted from his book. I'm not 100% sure. I know that he wrote the script for sure. It was written by Cormac McCarthy. It was directed by Ridley Scott.
Jesus.
It stars Michael Fassbender, Javier Bardem, Brad Pitt, Penelope Cruz, Natalie Dormer, and Cameron Diaz. And
dude, first off, 3 of the hottest women on the planet. Jesus,
and by all accounts, sucks and was awful, and was a huge bomb and didn't hit for anybody. And
can we watch that and then talk about it next week?
What you were just saying. I mean, I guess it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's like, I feel pretty confident that if we watched it, while we were watching it, we would be like, "Oh, right, this just don't hit.
Don't hit." Right? Yeah,
we were told that this didn't hit, and turns out this just don't hit. It probably would be like that.
With the cast, though, that you just said, to me, I think just watching all those people for an hour and a half or 2 hours would be enough for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I put a lot of stock into the people who are doing the thing. Like, there's been a lot of movies that if it hadn't have been, you know, let's say Matt Damon or George Clooney, then I would have thought the movie stunk. But because it had an actor in it that I really, really enjoy, I'm like, I'd watch this motherfucker do anything. You know, like there's a lot of people that feel that way about Dwayne Johnson, apparently, like half the world. And I'm not saying anything negative about him. I'm just saying, like, there are some people that bring a certain je ne sais quoi that I'm just like, well, I'm here for it, whatever. Like Steve Buscemi, I'll watch any, like, if Buscemi's in something, I'll give it a chance because I just like him. I could watch him talk for 2. You know what I'm, so like, I feel like there's no way I won't at least be able to sit through it, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean,
and isn't that what you want to do with a movie?
Go ahead and watch it and tell me if, yeah, right. I sat the whole way through it.
So, well, okay, review. How about this? I'll watch it, and then I will give you the Caesar thumb up or thumb down on whether I think you should watch it. And I'll be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? Truthful?
My crying shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just, but dude, again, thank you for bringing that up and making the point. You would think that it was impossible for that not to
hit. Yeah.
For that not to, or at least be serviceable. And 30% on Rotten Tomatoes is not serviceable. And like, you know, with how those critics work, like they're all like up their own ass. Like just the fact that it was written by Cormac McCarthy alone automatically sways them to probably want to rate it higher than they did anyways. You know, and granted, we know that the Rotten Tomatoes system is not, that means this movie is a 30. It means that 30% of people watching it found it good. Maybe those 30% of people just happen to have my sensibilities. Cause like Joe Dirt, not a box office success, 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah. A lot of comedies are like that. I feel like, I think we probably talked about that before, like especially with critics, because you, like you already said, critics are so up their own ass and they're so fart smelly and everything that like they almost can't like a comedy. The only exceptions are usually like
Tropic Thunder.
Right, yeah, because
movies that aren't funny.
That movie just stands above.
It's unreal.
What I mean? Like that movie stands alone. What I meant to say, like it's a fucking, that movie's an absolute fucking triumph.
Masterpiece.
So yeah, you either had to be a masterpiece / triumph as a comedy for the critics to fuck with you, or you know, also an example was, and I thought this movie was great. The critics were right to have said it was good, but any movie sort of like Booksmart. Like, did you ever see Booksmart?
Where no, it's like, but you told me it was good.
It is good. It's really good.
It's
and
humorous,
it's very funny. But it's like, it was directed by Olivia Wilde. It's got 2 teenage girl leads that are not traditional.
It's comedy second.
It's sort of like it's a little wokey. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like it hits for me. But I'm saying it's like, there's certain types of movies that I feel like critics are almost not allowed to dislike. And,
for sure.
So like an example, but Booksmart is great. It's
like
really
the show
good.
Girls.
Yes. In my opinion,
that's one of them.
Yeah. But I'll give you another example of one, because again, Booksmart I really liked, but one that I was like, this is fucking garbage. And I know we were saying earlier, it's like, we don't hate on nothing. Now 5 minutes later, I'm like, let me tell you how much this don't hit. I almost wish I hadn't framed it that way. But so a movie that didn't fit my taste, rather.
There you go. Wasn't for you.
No, it wasn't for me. Was I Care a Lot? Did you ever watch that?
I saw. Hold on.
That movie
is that the one that was? It was Netflix. Netflix.
Yes.
Okay. I did not see it, but I saw the trailer, and if a comedy trailer doesn't at least kind of engage me, then there is no fucking way that the movie's going to hit for me.
That movie's barely even a comedy, though. I don't even think it was meant, but it's like supposed to be like
what
kind
I'm
of
saying.
a dark
it was
comedy, but it's not. But she was it oh my God, Gone Girl. Who's the star of Gone Girl?
Amber.
Fucking
Amber. Who's in Gone Girl?
Rosamund Pike. Rosamund
Oh
Pike.
yeah, I love her.
Right. She's great. She's the star of this movie. She plays somebody that takes advantage of old people, right? She's like it's supposed to be one of those like unlikable anti-hero type things where it's like, but my point is she's like a really, really strong female character. And part of the movie's whole thing was just like, it's all right for men to be dirtbags and, as protagonists and they still hit for people. Right. We got a woman doing it now, that type of thing. But the movie is just not good. It doesn't make any sense. And it's like, but it had it used to at least have a really high rating on Rotten Tomatoes because I felt like it was the type of thing that critics, being the way critics are, weren't going to criticize. Do you know what I mean? Like it was the type of thing they were going to pretend like it hit for them when really it didn't or shouldn't have anyway, because the movie wasn't logically consistent and just didn't really work, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you're gonna make a comedy and have the critics like it, there needs to be a different category where something's not called a comedy, it's called a quirky or something. Like any Wes Anderson movie is a quirky, right? It is funny, but it's not like comedy is like the movie Superbad, Knocked Up. Those are comedies where it's absolute comedy first. We are not going for cinematography. We're going for the joke. And then you've got movies that are comedy second. And often those are just like, we wrote a really good script with interesting characters, and then we've added just enough jokes to consider this a comedy. A lot of Wes Anderson shit, Little Miss Sunshine, movies like these are like comedies.
I mean, shit, I would say the Coen Brothers movies and Quentin Tarantino's movies are,
comedy's in there.
Comedy's not the headliner, but they are funny though. They're funny the whole way through.
Like, dude, I mean, because hell, there's.
I would say now a lot of Marvel movies would fit under that same umbrella, where it's like the
Endgame was hilarious.
The comedy is not the thing people come for, but like, there's fucking jokes throughout the whole thing. I actually think that right there is why they don't ever even make just a standard comedy anymore, because it's like, well, everything's got comedy in it now. Like, why make just a comedy when we can make a comedy with angels in it or fucking vampires or superheroes or whatever? That'll hit harder.
This actually brings us full circle back to the nerd rage thing, because a lot of the things that I see the nerds raging about now is that Marvel, where they used to be, big, awesome, visually captivating story first and comedy peppered through. Now with Taika Waititi's Thor, the first Thor being so successful, they've tried to put comedy first before establishing characters, before moving plots. And like, first off, I have enjoyed every Marvel movie I've seen since the Thor, which Ragnarok was the one that was the shift. I've enjoyed every Marvel movie since then, but I can't deny that they aren't correct. Like, they are correct. That is true.
Right.
Like, the past several have been more, I mean, they lost Thanos, so they're not they're building to Kang, but they don't really exactly know what they're doing. It's okay. Listen, they had a 10-year unprecedented run. You cannot expect people to keep up with that. But I will, like, to side with the nerds. Yeah, and to make your point, you're right. Like, Marvel movies are the new comedies. Like, Thor: Love and Thunder was a straight up comedy. Like, it was a comedy first superhero movie.
Right.
Well, let's take a break, Trey.
Let's take a break.
My adversaries crumble when we rumble. It's a catastrophe on anybody who trying to hate, come and blast at me. I've been in this for a minute.
The midterms were tomorrow as we're recording this, as you all are listening to this. The midterms were yesterday, so you already know, listeners, what type of hellscape we now live in. Me and Corey, as we're recording this, do not yet know. So what are you, I don't know, how you feeling about it? You live there in Georgia?
Yeah, one of the battlegrounds.
Absolutely. Hotly contested Georgia.
If I'm going to make a prediction as to what happened yesterday, I am going to, and this is my prediction, obvious for those of you that might hear this out of context or don't know anything about me randomly, this is not what I want to have happened. This is what I think will have happened. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene won.
Yeah.
And I think that Senator Warnock and Herschel are in a runoff. That's what I think. That's what I think is going on. I think as we're talking, we know Marjorie Taylor Greene has won. Twitter is a even worse place to be than it was the day before. And I think that the Herschel and Warnock are in a runoff, and there is talk of election fraud. There's talk of mail-in ballots. There's all this horse shit, and it is not going to be fun for me to be walking around as if it was ever fun. So that's what I think is going to happen. What's going on in Tennessee? I don't even know. Bill Lee, he don't hit.
No, I don't know. Just a bunch of people that don't hit getting elected or reelected. But yeah, there's nothing interesting, really.
I saw Bill Lee, is he running for Senate or Congress there or in Tennessee?
But I don't know. You should showing my ignorance right now.
Well,
I don't even know what's going on.
His name's Bill Lee, which I think is a great
Bill
name.
Lee is the governor.
Well, he's running for governor then.
He's just running to be reelected as governor?
Yeah, and he said something in his ad campaign that I didn't know that they were saying out loud, and maybe that shows my ignorance, but he goes, he was talking about, like, I'm Bill Lee. I'm running for, rerunning for governor of Tennessee. Jews, blacks, Mexicans, da-da-da, whatever. And then he goes, as a family man, I'm putting our kids first. In Tennessee, we're leading the charge in parents being able to decide when and what their kids learn. And I thought that was just a joke that we were saying about them.
No.
They're like that, but like, and I knew that they were actively trying to do that. Like, I know that they're trying to quote unquote whitewash history and selectively try to not let people talk about CTE, critical race theory, CRT. But I didn't know that they were straight up coming out and going, we're going to let the parents decide what these fucking kids learn. Do you know who needs the least say in what kids learn? Their goddamn parents. They don't know shit. They were learned by other dumb motherfuckers.
No, Tennessee's like been at the forefront of that particular type of, like, all that anti-critical race theory and like all that school board shit where it's like, oh yeah, can't have critical race theory. And also, do you know they're turning into cats and pissing in litter boxes and
thanks, Joe Rogan.
Vaccine mandates or, the Holocaust and all that type of shit related to kids and education and stuff. Tennessee's like been at the absolute bleeding edge of that particular brand of dipshittery since it started. And continues to be so. But yeah, Bill Lee's, piece of shit. We're just all the pieces of shit we got are going to remain right where they are in the state of Tennessee, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I haven't even really kept up with it because I've not been given the impression at any point that there was
anything was close.
Chance of chance of anything hitting there. Like, no one's really, they're not considered. Tennessee ain't no battleground. Never really has been, but it used to be a little. I mean, I don't know. We've had like Democratic governors in my lifetime and shit, and but not now. Like we've gone off the deep end.
Well, I mean, I want to say so is Georgia, but then like we're such a complex state, and like it's like I might say that, but then also I would be mad at somebody else for saying that wasn't from here, because then I would be like, well, in 2020 we flipped blue and like we elected Warnock and Ossoff, so like, are we not the same people? You know what I mean? Did the mouth breathers and ignorant Mountain Dew drinking dum-dums that you like to call us, did they just sit that one out? And I guess their answer is like, yes, they did. They sat that one out. And now they're coming out and voting with vitriol. But like, I don't know. It's complicated because like, as far as the Walker Warnock thing goes, that's statewide. And I do believe in Georgia as a state. I try to believe in Georgia as a state. And that one also, like, man, as much as Marjorie Taylor Greene don't hit, Herschel also says the same things that she does, but kind of in a crazier way. You know what I mean?
Dude, I don't know that anybody's like higher on either the dumb or crazy scale in all of American politics than fucking Herschel Walker. I mean, dude, he's smush brained. Like,
no, I know, but like
he's like he be threatening to kill multiple women.
Yeah, no,
paying for multiple. Like, he hold guns to everybody's holding guns to his own head. Brags about being like a Russian roulette champion and shit. And like, I mean, as bad as Marjorie is, he's on a whole nother level in terms of lunacy and incompetence and, being a maniac.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that because I didn't know how everybody else felt. But Marjorie almost seems scarier because she seems like a person that's like she seems smarter.
Yeah.
Like
right. I agree with that.
Like,
I mean, Herschel Walker is like, he's just going to do whatever they tell him to do. The people that the people high up in the party or whatever, or their puppet masters, the fucking billionaires, whoever the hell they is. Herschel Walker would just march to whatever beat they tell him to. So he's like very easily controllable or whatever. Whereas she's a little bit more of a wild card, I think, in a bad way. Like,
yeah, either way, both of them, if by all manners of logic, neither of them should have a shot. But Georgia in itself, I'm still claiming that we're a purple state until we go red in the next election. I'm still considering us a purple state. So Georgia as a whole has a chance. So you want to think to yourself like, well, that means Warnock definitely has a chance against Herschel. But Marjorie, like, dude, she's going to run the fuck away. She just ran the fuck away with it. I guarantee. And that's not a knock on Marcus. That's not a knock on anybody. It wouldn't surprise me if the gap was closer than it's been. It definitely is going to be closer than it was when she first ran because she ran unopposed. But like, dude, I think that like, as far as it goes, like, in like the red scale of our district is like plus 22. Like in it, like if fucking this is normal Republican, we're turned up 22 from that. I don't know if that's how I'm supposed to interpret us being plus 22, but like, she's got a head start before she even opens her goddamn mouth, is what I'm saying.
But what do you think about overall, like the House and the Senate and the Democrats in general? Like, are they going to lose control of both, all of it?
Well,
like,
you'll have to
be a red wave.
You'll have to fill me. I mean, I think probably because like it's like we know like this is not me trying to act smart. This is just how it's always been. Like the politics is a pendulum, like
right.
Like when there is a wave of some sort, that makes all the other people wake up because they go, oh shit, like when you're coming from behind, like people who come from behind vote like hell. And we know that these people exist because they are they say that they're the silent majority, but they are the fucking loud dumbass.
Right. No one's less silent.
No one's less silent. Yeah. Right. They're not minorities. I do know that, but still, I don't know, man. Like I don't have a lot of faith in it because like but you're doing skews. Like what are the other like battleground states? What's some of I know Fetterman and Dr. Oz.
Pennsylvania.
I'm worried about
Pennsylvania,
that
Georgia,
one.
Nevada, Wisconsin. There's like big races in Michigan and Florida and, all over the place, Washington State. But it's like, so basically, as you were just saying, the pendulum thing, pretty much the general rule of thumb has been whatever party is in power, they get their ass whipped in the midterms.
Yeah.
Like it just works that way. So everybody expected the Democrats, like at the beginning, coming into this year, everybody's like, oh, the Democrats are going to get their ass whooped. That's just how it works. Then Roe got overturned and a bunch of other shit happened over the summer. And gradually people started saying like, I don't know, actually, like the, projections looking pretty good. The Democrats might be able to keep, I don't remember. I get them mixed up, the projections for which one, but it was something like, at one point, they were like, Democrats got an 80% chance of keeping the Senate and a 51% chance of keeping the House. That's still more of a coin flip, but it might happen. Then people started getting super worried about the gas prices and the economy and shit. At least that's how
our
the narrative
gas prices
is.
are below $3. That's like $2.45 or something.
It never made any sense to begin with, but maybe it might just be that they don't have another better explanation for it. But that's the way the narrative has been presented. People got real worried about the economy, and then now.
Economic anxiety is what they call it.
Yeah, the polls are shifting back in the Republicans' favor, and now it's like we're kind of just right back to where we started, where I think now all the projections are, the Democrats are probably about to get their asses whipped, which is what we thought at the beginning of the year, but they flirted with fucking hope and optimism along the way, and but have landed in essentially the same place. So, I mean, I think it's going to be bad, and it's like, but what sucks is, and you referenced this earlier about runoffs and whatever else, but like in any races where it doesn't go that way, like in any races where the lunatic loses, like what are they going to do after that? Like, are they going to accept it? Are they going to concede? Probably not. What's their base going to do in the event of that happening? Like, there's just a lot of shit that remains to be seen over the course of this week. And I think a lot of it's going to be a bit of a bellwether for the future of our fucking democracy. So, like,
no, I know, man. I mean,
pretty wild times, which do not hit.
No, it don't. And I don't know. Like I said, I really hope that there's people listening to this right now on Wednesday laughing at how wrong we are. That would really hit for me.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's true. And I'm worried about the Fetterman one too. And I'll tell you why. It's because of the things that they have against Fetterman, or some of the things that they've been saying against him. I kind of agree with their stance. Like, fuck Dr. Oz, but when this dude, like, he's not in good health, like he's not, and like self-admitted by him, if the coin was flipped and he was the Republican, we would absolutely be saying, listen, guys, it's not about politics. He's literally unfit to lead. We would be saying that.
I mean, yeah, that's already that exists and already is happening. It's Herschel Walker is that Herschel Walker's brain.
Yeah, right.
His brain ain't right.
No, it's not.
But so the same people Fetterman is not on Walker's level, dude. Like the way I understand
it, he's just actually ill. Like he's
and the
just
way I
actually in bad health.
The way I have been led to understand it is that is shit that could continue to improve. He had a stroke and his condition is gradually improving.
Right.
And he's like, he will get better. Herschel Walker ain't getting no fucking better.
No. I'm saying, like, I'm on Team
Fetterman. I know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the same people, they're like, look at this. They can't honestly think this guy's fit to serve. And they're like, really fit to serve is Herschel Walker. Like,
Mushbrain.
Mushbrain over here. Yeah. Shouldn't be running nothing but off tackle, but they're all for him. And, I don't know. Things don't hit. What are you going to do?
No, they don't. I wrote a poem for Election Day.
Really? That's cool.
Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
This is my Election Day poem. Headed out on Tuesday to punch my little box. Democracy is crazy, crazy like a fox. I hope I pick the winner. I hope I ain't alone. And I hope that when they win, no one calls them on the phone to tell them it was stolen, to tell them it was fake. I hope that all those people hit their nutsack with a rake. It's time we came together, put the united back in states, because hanging in the balance is a lot of people's fates. Maybe not for me, and maybe not for you, but think about the lesbians. Think about the Jews. Think about just anyone besides you for a change. You'll still get all you pretty guns, and you can shoot them at the range. But what about your mama? What about your sister? What happens when she gets pregnant by some uninvited mister? Are you going to tell me you love them with your heart, yet cast a vote for someone who'll control their body parts? I don't think I buy it. I don't think you do either. So if you can't vote for a Democrat, just don't vote for either.
Yeah, that's good. What'd you do that for? Corey writes
for my Substack. Yeah, it's parttimefunnyman.com/CoreyWritesForYou.com. Both of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just depending on which one I'm promoting that day. Yeah, that was
How often you doing poems?
I've only done like maybe 3 or 4 on there. It just really is whatever the mood strikes me. Everybody that's a subscriber at parttimefunnyman.com knows that you get a variety of things. And sometimes I'm in the mood to write an essay. Sometimes I'm in the mood to write a poem. Sometimes I'm in the mood to write something else. And, I've been as of late doing like daily, rants, where I take my microphone out to the park and, scream into it about things that bother me, and talk about or just my thoughts of the day. So it's a big value for $5 a month over there at parttimefunnyman.com. And as always, if you can't afford it but would still like it, you can just email buttercreamcorey@gmail.com and I'll take care of you, no questions asked. Trey, what you got going on, buddy?
You go to TreyCrowder.com, get tickets to come see me if you ain't in a place to do that, like geographically or whatever. You can also go to patreon.com/Trey Crowder and check out my wares on there and support me in that way and listen to Putting On Airs and Weekly Skews, and that all hits. And thank you and bye. That's all.
Sure does. And stay tuned after this episode for a preview and clip of Putting on Airs. Thank you all for listening to the Well Read Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but holy shit, I got out of breath. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and ski.
I've also had a huge problem with fucking restaurants that are like, oh, you want an extra ranch? That's 25 cents. No, motherfucker. Give me the goddamn extra ranch. Put that 25 cents. Make the green beans cost a little bit more. We'll never fucking know. We'll never know. We'll never think of you as the people whose green beans cost 10 cents more to make up for something. But you know what we fucking will remember you for? We will remember you as the fucking that charged us 25 cents for an extra thing of fucking ranch when you gave us a tiny ramekin to begin with, all right? That's what we'll fucking remember, and we're not coming back to your fucking place. Make your goddamn fried mushrooms $4.50 instead of $4.25. No one thinks a fucking word about it. Quit putting this goddamn tax on me.
No, now see, here's what you're missing. Now I got to pay for your ranch.
Yes, you do.
Now when I get green beans.
Yes, you do.
And I don't want the extra ranch.
No, you're paying for your ranch.
No. What if I don't want ranch? Now I'm paying for your ranch.
You won't know, though.
Money
you will never know.
To pay for your ranch.
But you will never know.
I don't want to pay for your ranch.
You'll never know, Trey.
Fucking classic you asking for a handout of ranch. That's what you want.
It's what I want.